Hello guys and welcome to Binary Corner. So in today's video we will be talking about how we gonna set up Google Cloud Stack. We'll be setting basically WordPress on Google Cloud, right? So there are many videos, but I'm gonna show you the easiest process and most sophisticated process to get things done, and I have written down a couple of the steps here. So we'll be going around first setting up the Google Cloud Engine servers on the GCP. It will be the Linux server, and then we'll be setting around IPs and network ports, and there are a few more things we will be soon talking about those. Then we'll be installing VestaCP, putting up basic control panel. So basically it's a control panel where we can easily deploy and do the things. And then we'll be installing WordPress, and then we'll also be doing the setup for the database, which will be a SQL database. So VestaCP kind of provide us these options to create the SQL database. So it's very easy with the VestaCP. So we'll be going with that. And then we'll be also talking about the backups, how the backups are stored, how we can restore these backups. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and like the video. Guys, let's begin with the first step, which is basically Cloud Ninja servers on GCP. So I'll be using the GCP, and I'll log in, and you can basically create a trial account and they will give you around $300 of worth of credits. So guys, let's begin with our journey, and first we're gonna create a basic server on a Google Cloud, and we will be using VM. In our future videos, I'll be covering more features like containerizing into a Docker and uploading it to Google Cloud, or maybe making DevOps pipelines and all these things. And all these cool things will be coming soon on our channel. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. So first step will be just creating the VM. So on the Google Cloud homepage, you will see an option for create a VM. So I'll click on create a VM, and you will be redirected to VM options. And I have already created one server, so you can ignore this. You might be seeing only this blank screen. So you will be seeing an option for create instance. So we'll be going hit create instance, and this is where you will be setting your server, like the configuration and the name and all these things. So let's call YouTube server, right? It's not a YouTube server. Let's not call YouTube server. Let's call test server, or maybe web server 3. I've already created web server 2, so that's why I'm creating web server 3, and it should be a lowercase, and hyphen is allowed, right? Next thing is the region. So Google has many places where they're hosting these servers, so you can basically select the nearby location. So basically I'll be selecting India because I'm living in India, so I'll be selecting Mumbai. Scroll down, you will see there are a couple of options to select the server from, and we'll be selecting E2. So E2 will be the low cost day-to-day computing, and if you're planning out some bigger projects, so you can select the other things, but in this video we'll be just covering E2, right? And once you scroll down, so it will start showing you the estimated pricing for the server. So don't worry, I'll be changing some of the configuration. So for our case, I will be just installing the WordPress, the basic WordPress. And for basic WordPress, we can even select shared core servers, and it'll work on our 2 gigs of RAM. I'll recommend you to get at least 2 gigs of RAM to get things smooth enough. So it will recalculate, and it will cost us $15, right? So these are the basic server, and the best part about getting your own server is you can expand these servers. You can maybe host multiple websites on this. Like if you have 2 or 3, 4, I think it can handle up to 4 websites, or even 5 websites if you want to try it out, and a traffic of at least I can think of 100k users. So that is pretty good, right? So let's choose this server. I don't want to go low enough, so let's choose this server, which is costing us around $15, right? Scroll down and just select standard for this VM provisioning model. Display, we don't need the display, and the container we can skip it. VN service, we can skip it, we don't need it. And boot disk, right? So now we'll be selecting the what's the boot disk we want. So by default it will select you the Debian 11, so we'll be using Debian 12, the last one, and disk space will be 10 gigs. So for this video we'll be just selecting the 10 gigs option. So if you're planning for maybe 3 or 4 websites or storing a huge amount of data like images and all these things, so you can select 20 gigs of RAM also. So I'll select this Debian 12 and select, right, and I'll scroll down, and there are two more options we need to select, which is allow HTTP traffic and HTTPS traffic. So this will allow our external traffic, which is our users, to access our website, right? An advanced option will be skipping those, and you can see the final cost will be $15.89 for 1 month, right? So I'll create the server. You can see our server status is now green, and you can see the static IP is this, right? So if you go on this static IP on a new tab, you will see our website is not up yet, right? So this is the IP which we can access to our website. So let's go ahead with our second step, which is getting the static IP. So now the main problem comes when we restart our server. So when we restart our server, our external IP will change. So getting the static IP is very important, because you might be restarting your server like in a worst case, right? And you don't want to change the IP. You don't want to map it every time you restart the server, right? So that's where we're going to get the static IP, right? We're going to search networks. So you can search the network and you will see VPC networks, right? So you'll be selecting this, and on the left side you will see bring your own IP. So you can bring your external IP as well, but we'll be using the Google provided IPs, right? So I'll select the IP address. So now you can see all the IPs in our network, and these are internal IPs which are using internally, and this is the external IP, and this is my older server's external IP. So you can see it is, the status of this is static because I've already assigned it to my previous server, and you can see this type is ephemeral, right? So we need the static IP. So the way we're gonna do it is we scroll to the right and you will see 3 dots, right? So you select this and you click promote to static IP. So once you promote to static IP, you need to give a name. So I'll give a web server 3 IP, right? Something like that. We have allocated this IP as a static IP. You can see now the status is turned to static. So guys, let's move to the next step, which is setting up our firewall. And the way how firewall works is basically it blocks all the external traffic. So basically we need to allow some of the ports to access through FTP and to our dashboard, right? So you're gonna search firewall on the top and select the firewall in VPC network. And now we will be creating a new firewall policy. So hit create new firewall policy and wait for it. And you can name a firewall policy as something web policy or something like that. We're gonna name it as web policy. It will be global, continue. And there are a couple of templates, as you can see, which we can add. So if you want to deny sanctioned countries traffic, you can block that, or maybe Tor traffic. So you can add those as well. But we'll be creating our own rules. So I'll click on add rule, and you need to set up priority, right? So I'll copy this highest priority and paste it over here. And in the source, we'll be selecting IPv4, and we'll be allowing all traffic, right? So from everywhere. So we'll scroll down and we will be specifying protocols and port. And in this, we'll select TCP, and the first port we'll be allowing is 21. So 21 is FTP port, and next will be the port for our accessing our dashboard. So it will be 8083. So in upcoming section, I'll show you. We'll be using this 8083, and you will see it up in the list. So select this, scroll down and hit create, and you can see it will be assigned to our network policies. So I have already added one of the policy earlier, and I have added one more, right? Web policy. So now let's go to our next step. So now you will be thinking how I'm going to access this server, right? So the way we're gonna access is basically there are many options, there are many methods to access the server, but we're gonna do it through Google standard way, which is SSH. So you'll be seeing an option under the connect column, which is having a SSH. So I'll click the SSH, and you will be seeing a pop-up window with SSH in browser, right? So now you will see the entire Linux on our browser, right? So this is how we're gonna do all these steps. So you can do ls and all these command, right? So you can see I'm in a home directory. So all the commands which you are typing here is going in the server and executing there, right? And you're getting the response back. So the next step will be installing the control panel from where we gonna access our websites and all these things. Let's go back and let's open the control panel website. So we'll be using VestaCP, and this is the modified version of VestaCP. So I'll put all the links in the description. So you just scroll down and you will be having an option of how to install. So we'll be copying this first command. So I'll paste all the commands which I am using in this video in the description. So the first command we'll be using is sudo su. What will sudo su do is basically give us the root access, right? Because we are installing these things, so we need the root access, right? So we're going to install that. So we'll copy it. So I've already copied it. So I'll paste this first command and I'll hit enter. So this is done. And now copy the second command, just paste it and hit enter. And it will just update few of the packages into our server. And now you will see my Vista things are there, right? So the cool part about my Vista is you'll get all the things pre-installed. So you don't need to manually install all these things. These are the basic things which is required to run our WordPress server, right? So it will install Nginx, it will install Apache web server, PHP and all these things, right? And we also get a database server, right? And I think it also install a mail server, right? So I'll press yes. So if you want to remove anything, you press no and just remove it. So I'll press yes. And now you're gonna enter your email. So for now I'll just type test.gmail.com. so at this step just ignore it because it will create a lot of mess later on. Next is the port number, Vista port number. So I'll go with the default 8083 and I'll hit enter. And now comes the interesting part, right? So if you already have the domain, right? Let's suppose you have any xyz.com, right? So you need to put your domain right up front, right? So it will help you to map it properly. So I don't have a domain yet to show you in this video, but I'll just put xyz.com, right? So you don't need to put www dot or anything else. So just put your domain or .in or .co .io and just press enter. And now it will take around 15 to 20 minutes to install this entire control panel. So I will just cut this part off and I'll see you in the next section. Guys, now you might be seeing this step. So basically my website is not there, so that's why it's giving me warning. So I'll just press enter. And once you press enter, so now you can see the installation is completed. Message like congratulations, you have successfully installed VestaCP. So now this is very important. So we will be just copying this. So just select it. It will auto copy and we'll paste it in a text editor or something like that, right? So now just copy this link and go to the website. So the dashboard basically. So remember, like, this is the IP which we were accessing our website, and the way we're gonna access our dashboard is through 8083. So just add a port 8083 and with HTTPS and just click advance and proceed to this, right? So you will see a login form like this, and we will just log in with our admin and the password which is just generated, and boom, we are in, right? So now you can see this Vista control panel is installed on our server, which is running on our Google Cloud, right? Next step will be installing our WordPress, right? So before that, let's go with the basic things on this dashboard. So the first thing you'll see is the user.
So if you click on the user and scroll down, you can see we have admin, right? So I highly recommend you to change your password right up front. So just type any password and just go down and just save it. So it will just change your password, right? So now next time you'll log in with the password you have just entered, right? So next thing is the web. So this is where we have entered our main domain, which is xyz.com. And basically how it works is you have the domain name and you need to point to this server, right? So this IP address. So I'll create a separate video if you want to have that, like how we map the domain to the server. So I'll create a separate video. So basically how you can create multiple server is just add new web domain, right? And just enter the domain which you have purchased. And IP address will be the same, and like ABC or XYZ, anything like that. So I'll add abc.com and I'll just add it, and you will be seeing that abc.com will be and you can see the ABC is also added, right? So similar way you can add multiple websites, n number of websites to your server. So this, there is no limit. So next thing is DNS. So we will not cover the DNS in this video. Next thing is the mail server. We will be just skipping this mail server. Next is the database. So the cool part about My Vista is you get the database option as well. So we'll be just creating database very shortly. Next is the cron. We'll be not talking about the crons. And next is the backup. So the way how VestaCP works is it creates a auto backup every 24 hours. And this is really cool if you want to roll back the change or if you have done something wrong. So you can easily roll back these changes, right? So I remember the days when I was developing something in WordPress, and if I want to roll back the changes, it was really hard. So this thing is really cool, right? So once you have the backup, you can also trigger these backups manually by clicking this backup option, and it backup entire server, so including the user, web, and all the settings, including all the files you have in the server. So it create a compressed version and it store it in somewhere in our server, right? Now we're gonna install the WordPress. So the way we're gonna install is we will log into the disk of our server, and we'll be extracting the WordPress and we'll install it over there, right? So head over to wordpress.org. I'll put the link in the description and just download the latest version. So for me it's 6.3.1, and you will see that it is currently downloading. I think I have already downloaded it 15 hours ago. And now how we gonna log into our server is basically using the disk. Server disk is basically through the FTP client, right? So if you're a Windows user, you can use WinSCP, right? It's a really cool software. And if you're a Mac user, I highly recommend you to use the CyberDuck, which is a free software. Both of them are free software. And just copy this IP and let me open CyberDuck because I'm using the Mac. So this is the CyberDuck, and you will see an option at the bottom left to add in server. So I'll add a server and just paste the IP, right? And in the username, just enter admin. So it will take the Vista credentials and the password which we have changed, right? So I'll put up the new password, right? We are in, right? So you can see there are a couple of folders. So main thing, I think we will be just focusing on the web. So the web, you can see we have two domains, right? So one is the XYZ, which we have entered during our installation. And the second one is the ABC, which we have just created from our dashboard. So let me expand this, and we're going to install to one of our domain. So whichever domain you want to install it, you just open that folder and you will see there are a couple more folders, and we just go inside public.html, public_html, and just delete these two links. So before deleting this, I'll show you if we reload this page now, right? You remember this page, and if I remove the HTTPS and if we go to our IP, So now you will see the website xyz.com, which is basically coming from our HTML file. So if I change something in our HTML file, it will change to our server, right? So I don't need this because we'll be using the WordPress version. So just delete these two files. So I'm going to just delete these two files. So just press delete and delete, right? Okay, so how we're gonna install the WordPress is basically we just drag and drop this folder to our public.html, right? Public underscore html, sorry. And just public.html, I'll just put it over here and press continue. And it will just upload this zip file to our folder, right? So now you can see this zip file has been uploaded successfully. So I'll rename this file just to be nice. So I'll just rename it to wordpress.zip, right? So rename it, continue, and you can see now I have a wordpress.zip. So now we're going to extract this wordpress.zip. So basically how you will do it is you go back to your SSH in browser, just press ls and go to admin, right? You need to go to admin. So the way you're gonna change the directory is cd admin, so which is change directory, and ls to list. So ls basically means list of all the things inside this. So now you can see there are config mail web. So we're going to be in the web. So let's cd in the web. I think I have uploaded the file at the wrong place. So I was in xyz because this is the main domain. So just delete these two files. I'll delete these two files again because we don't need them. And just drag and drop the folder to the correct one, right? So we'll just move this to there. And now we are in xyz.com, right? So I'll go inside cdxyz.com. Now you will see this this thing, and just go inside public.html. So cd h public html and just ls it, right? So now you will see wordpress.zip. So the way we're gonna unzip it is basically unzip and the file name. So basically wordpress.zip, and it will just run it. And now you can see it is completed very fast. So we gonna reload our cyberduck, and now you will see it created a WordPress folder, right? All the WordPress things are inside this, right? So you're gonna move all the files from WordPress to public HTML. So the way we're gonna do it is using clear. So just clear this thing. Just go inside cd WordPress, do ls. So you will see all the WordPress files, and I'll use a command called mv star for all the files, and I'll go one directory up. So double dot slash, I'll see no files. And if I go cd double dots, which is previous directory, and if I do ls, now you will see all the files in this directory, right? Now let's head back to our IP, which is this one. Initially we have loaded this, and let's press and let's try to refresh it, right? So let's refresh it, and boom, we see a WordPress logo, and it says the database has not been configured yet, yeah, right? So let's go, and I can configure it very easily using this dashboard, right? So now comes the interesting part. So I'll go back to our my VestaCP, and we'll be creating a database, right? So I'll click on database DB. I'll go in add database, and I'll create a demo database called, maybe for WordPress, called WordPress, right? And it will create us a database called admin WordPress, and I'll enter a username called admin, or maybe same as WordPress, and I'll put a password. Now I'll copy this, I'll paste the database name because these are two same. So database name is basically this, username will be this, password will be the password which we have entered, and WordPress host and all these things will be leaving as it is, right? So I'll create this database, I'll click add, and now it has created successfully. I can see this database is created now over here, and you can also see how much disk space it is using, right? So this is really cool, the My Vista CP. So now once I've created the database in a My Vista, I can go ahead and click submit over here. So I'll submit it, and I think it's done. I'll run installation, and boom, our connection is now established to our database. And now it is asking me for website title, username, password, and email ID, right? So now you can type your website name, which is XYZ, or whatever is your website title. Username will be admin. I'll copy this thing, or maybe you can enter a new WordPress login email. So this is the WordPress credentials, right? And I'll just copy this. I've just copied it, and I'll just click install. And I think I need to provide a email, so I'll just give test@gmail, and just press install WordPress. And now you'll see the WordPress has now successfully installed. I'll click on login. I'll use this and this as a password. I'll log in it, and boom, we are in, right? So now we have successfully installed our WordPress on our Google server, right? So we are in, and basically I can create a post, I can do anything. So I can do test post for our Google Cloud on WordPress video, right? And I'll publish it, right? It is now published. I can view this post, and you can see the website also. So if I go on our IP now, so now you will see our website is now there live, right? That's it for installation part, and we can change the appearance, the themes. There are many themes. I can add new theme, right? So all the things will work over here. So I can select this Navy theme, install it, and yeah, now it sometime it is asking for our FTP user name and password. So the way how it works is basically you need to provide same IP address. So I'll provide the IP address as this, and the username is basically which we have entered in our CyberDuck or WinHCP, right? So it will be admin, and your FTP password, so which is basically the same as My Vista control panel password, right? And one common issue you might see is installation failure and couldn't create a directory, something like that, right? And same goes if we try to upload a file or folder or image to our media, right? So the way we're gonna solve it is basically using our SSH. So head over to our SSH, and let's go one directory up to xyz.com. So I'll go cd double dots, and I'll do ls, so you can see the folder public HTML. So now I'll just paste this command, which is sudo chown r admin space, and select the folder which is public HTML, right? So I'll just press enter, and this is done. So I'll paste the command in the description. And now if you install it, right, so I think it's if you install any theme, right? So let's put the password again. So I think it should save the password somewhere. So yeah, now you can see it is installed successfully. Same goes if you try to upload a file or a image. And I'll create a separate video on linking the IP to our domain. So if you want that video, just let me know. I'll create a video, and also how we gonna manage multiple servers, and what is this DNS. So if you want all these videos, let me know in the comment section. If you have any comments, anything if you doesn't understand, let me know in the comment section. I'll try to help you out, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.